Welcome to It's Personal, Not Just Business, with your host, Michael Fliegelman. In each episode, you'll learn lessons from other successful financial advisors and brokers. You can find this show on YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on swanwealth.com. Now here's the host of It's Personal, Not Just Business, Michael Fliegelman.
Hi, welcome to It's Personal, Not Just Business. Today I am extremely excited to have a dear friend, mentor, and coach join us today. Mr. Steve D'Annunzio of the Soul Purpose Institute has been coaching financial advisors and helping them create a more balanced and successful life for some 20 or 30 years. And he's just been a tremendous resource to myself, my team, and so many financial advisors. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that lovely intro.
Well, I wanted to, share with my listeners the value that you create for so many advisors. Every year I come to your symposiums and you share with all types of entrepreneurs mindsets and techniques and strategies that are so helpful, not only in creating business, but to make the lives of the people you serve that much better. So if you don't mind, Steve, give a little introduction to how you got here and what you do for your clients, if you don't mind.
Well, I got here through our mutual friend, Jeff Russell, who was a coach for Tony Robbins in the 80s and was teaching Tony Robbins programs to financial advisors up and down Wall Street. Jeff was walking around with a video camera and he would pop in a video of Tony, and he went and met a advisor, Ron Rosbrook, who said, Jeff, we think the Tony stuff is great, but we really love you. And Jeff began coaching with Ron Rosbrook, who wound up bringing me and Jeff in. And then Jeff passed away, and I kind of took the mantle and ran with it. And through Jeff's influence, was introduced into the life insurance business and the financial services profession. And the other thing that I realized was that when I first came into the business, there was a competitive edge, and the competitive edge was products that people's, the way that they would sell their business was, I have better products and so. But then what wound up happening is everybody in all these companies looked at the products and they all got the same products. So there was no edge. There was no competitive value. And so the next thing was everybody had a unique process. And then as what'll happen is, somebody has a unique process, people will copy it, and everybody kind of had the same processes. And now the unique thing is the relationship. And, you're somebody that creates great relationships with people. And I teach kind of relationship selling, if you will, how to deepen a relationship with somebody, how to really create value for them, recognizing that the more value we create, the dollars follow value. And, when we came into this business 30 years ago as salespeople, we had better products, we had better processes. It was really never about the value. It was always kind of selling myself to them. But now there's this complete different shift that we do, which is, I call it value-based enrollment. And it's really the shift from selling people to serving people. And the reason for that is we all understand now, people hate to be sold, but love to buy. And the internet has really commoditized almost everything. The only thing it cannot commoditize is your relationship with somebody. So instead of you and I entering the industry 30 years ago, where the business heard caveat emptor, buyer beware, but in fact, it's caveat venditor, which is seller beware. Because if you're not deepening a relationship, serving your client's value, building trust is the currency of the 21st century, because we live in a crisis of truth. So that's what I do with people, is help them deepen the relationship with their clients, teach them principle creation, knowing that dollars follow value.
It's tremendous. And every time I'm in your presence, I always get this tremendous value from you. And, you've taught me to, create, um, a process by which, when you work with someone, you ask them, give me a rating, give me some feedback. So,
Yeah.
so many of these great lessons that you and Jeff have taught me over the years, I've tried to implement. And, in the words of, the late Jeff Locker, who is a dear friend of both of us, he said to me, my greatest skill set was when I find something that I feel passionate about, that I think works great, I share it generously. And that is why you are here today with me. Because if any of our advisors and brokers that tune into our podcast are listening, I would like to invite you, in the words of Steve D'Annunzio, to reach out to Steve and his team to learn about his coaching program, because it's not about just creating more revenue, more clients, more success, but to have a better life. And I share that because I know so many advisors that make a huge amount of money that are not really happy. And I know a good amount of advisors that make a nice living that are loving life and enjoying every moment. And I think that the great magic sauce that you bring to the table is to get people to enjoy where they're at and to have gratitude. And I hope that those that are listening will take note of what's going on here, because Steve has, and his team has done this over, I would say, some 30 years of coaching financial advisors, but not just financial advisors, entrepreneurs from other industries as well. And I can't express to you, the listeners, my passionate plea for you to reach out and to learn more about how Steve and his coaching team could potentially be a game changer for you. Steve, can you share a little bit about how people can contact you, reach out to you, and a little bit about the services that you provide to entrepreneurs and financial advisors in helping them have a better life and have a better business?
Yeah. So thanks, Mike. That was what you said, and I appreciate that. www.missiondrivenadvisor.com, or you can email my team at support@missiondrivenadvisor, O-R, not ER.com, or soulpurposeinstitute.com, www.soulpurposeinstitute, which goes right to Mission Driven Advisor. And we own two coaching companies. One is Soul Purpose Institute. That is for non-financial professionals. And then Mission Driven, which is for all financial professionals, which is everything from a property and casualty agent to a mortgage broker to a hedge fund manager to a life insurance agent to the owner, C-suite people in any financial services profession, be it banking or life insurance or equities. So typically it's that segmentation is non-advisors go with the Soul Purpose Institute, and the people in the financial services profession or industry would go to Mission Driven Advisor. And I want to speak about why that's important. There's a lot of coaching out there, and you spoke. I was very honored to speak at some of these big industry events like MDRT and LAMP and Gamma and so on. And what I realized was they bring in people, top salespeople, and they bring in karate experts and, David Goggins, and he'd do 1,000 pull-ups, and guys would break boards, and, magicians would pull rabbits out. Great stuff. But it's really a show. And the reason I say that is because most people don't understand when they're in a coaching practice, they try to hire and create a persona, that personality, and they try to adopt the personality of the Navy SEAL or the magician. Personality does not scale. Biology scales. And how I discover people's biology is finding out what their unique passion is. We call this the soul purpose sweet spot. It's a Venn diagram. It's the combination of your own passion, right, which is an internal drive, and it's unique to everybody. The second bubble is the external driver. What is your mission? What is the good that you do? And what is your purpose? We call that purpose. The mission, that serves society. So the first driver is your own passion, unique to you. The second, that's the internal. The second is an external driver, which is your purpose. And the third is your profit, your profit that everybody needs to drive an economic engine. And these three things combined gives us something in the middle that is a natural hack for you to follow. So we find your soul's purpose, what we call profit zone or sweet spot in between passion, purpose, and profit. In the book Good to Great, it was called the hedgehog concept. What is the thing that you're passionate about doing every day? Because when I help discover your passion, I don't have to motivate you. Now, if you're following somebody else's persona, somebody else's personality, you're never going to do the tasks you're going to need to do. But if you're following your own passion and your own purpose, now you're self-motivated. And this is how we get people curious, passionate, purposeful, and practicing the mastery of those sweet spots every single day. That's what we build in their practice, knowing that personality does not scale, but biography and biology does.
Wow, that's terrific. I sense that, there's so much more that you can share, and I don't even know what to ask you at this stage so that the listeners can get a feel for how you can add value. Maybe it would be great, Steve, if you could share some of the success stories that you've had with people like myself or others that you've taken into your program and helped transform their business and their lives, making them less a prisoner to their past, less stressed about their future. Because I would say the greatest things that you have provided to me have not been on the profit part of your diagram, but have been on my purpose and my happiness and my life and my
Yeah.
stress, which I think makes me that much more effective when I'm working with my clients.
Yeah. It's a great point, Mike. So two things drop in for me. First, heart easy. And second, the power of intention. And I'll explain both. First is heart easy. Heart easy is a principle. And we teach people a series of success principles, prosperity principles that are really important. We teach a principled approach to wealth creation. And why that's so critical is every day we're going to face a challenge. I had a challenge this morning with one of my coaches. And it's really easy to deal with challenges when you understand the principles that guide your behavior every day. So heart easy is a principle. It's not a law. The distinction between laws and principles are this. Principles can be violated. Golden rule is a principle. I wish people lived by it. They don't. They can violate the principle of the golden rule. Gravity is a law. You cannot have gravity on the earth. So a principle can be violated. The first principle we teach in any of our courses, online courses or otherwise, is heart easy. And heart easy says, every second I face a decision. If I commit to do what appears to be the hard thing first, I make the rest of my life easier. Now, of course, what we're taught to do in the world is do the easy thing, which makes the rest of our life harder. My theory is the reason that people on earth live a hard right now is because they practice easy hard. They do the easy thing, which makes their life hard. So we teach discipline is freedom, that if you do what appears to be the hard thing first, you'll make the rest of your life easy. So that right there sets us on what I think of as the road less traveled. Secondarily, the concept of the power of intention. Many books have been written about the power of intention. One of my teachers, who since passed away, Wayne Dyer, who was a huge influence in my life, wrote a book called The Power of Intention. What is intention? Intention is a noble goal. And let me explain a noble goal. Win, win, win. All right, the great Stephen Covey said, practice win, win, or no deal. But I think of it differently. First, I don't even know who they are. I want you to win second. And when that win happens, I'll win third. I put myself temporarily at the end of the food chain. When we do win-win-win business deals, what winds up happening is our universe operates according to a series of natural laws. The word in Greek is physis, which is the root of the word physics. This physics law governs everything that happens in the electromagnetic spectrum. Our universe operates according to, like a giant cosmic magnet. The way people are hearing this right now is a magnetic wave called sound. The way they're seeing the image here through this camera is an electromagnetic wave called light. When we're putting out into the world and into the universe this win-win-win, I want people to win, we activate a universal conspiracy to succeed. When we practice win-lose, more than we're giving, we're activating a universal conspiracy to fail. People don't know this and don't understand it. This would be the law of sympathetic resonance, which governs the power of intention. In the Bible, it was called the law of sowing and reaping, or the law of harvest. The Buddha called it the law of cause. But I like to call the physics aspect of it, which is the law of sympathetic resonance. All that to say, that creates a context for one principle, hard, easy, and one law, which is the law of intention, or the law of understanding that like attracts like. So when I'm looking to serve people, when I'm looking for them to win, that I'm giving more than I'm taking. That initiates what's called universal surplus. That is the secret to abundance. To give more than you take, to produce more value than you consume. And when you do that, you activate the universal abundance according to the law of sympathetic resonance. That's physics that says like attracts like. So I'm very intentional with people. And what the power of intention is a noble goal, win, win, win. They win first, then me. You, then me. It's that simple. And every great spiritual teacher, whether you Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Sophia, Gaia, whoever you like, right? Take your pick in the smorgasbord of spiritual teachers, Moses, whoever. All say something about this. But I like to reference science because it's repeatable. It's duplicable, right? It works in any laboratory, right? At 211 degrees, water's hot. A 1 degree shift, 212 degrees, water boils. Whether we're in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Japan, America, doesn't matter where. It's anywhere and everywhere, always true. The law of sympathetic resonance cannot lose track of, are you stealing? Are you lying? Are you cheating? Which, by the way, I've done all of, right? And recognize when my life hit the rocks, oh, do I have anything to do with it? Well, in the beginning, no, I didn't. I would always blame somebody else. Oh, society, oh, the president, oh, the company, oh, my parents. No. Full responsibility living, hard, easy, tell myself the truth, create an intention to serve other people, value. Value lives in the mind of the other. Value lives in the mind of the client. Put them first temporarily. And as the great Zig Ziglar used to say, I can have everything in this world that I want as long as I'm willing to help enough other people get what they want first.
It's so many thoughts come to mind as you speak, and so many lessons that I have learned, whether it be from you or other great leaders. And, I always start a relationship where the premise has to be predicated upon a win-win relationship. And, I've really tried to model my business from that perspective of give to get, give more, um, and always create a win-win. And it allows me, when things get out of balance, to revisit that conversation later on, where if I feel like the relationship is out of balance and it's no longer a win-win, for us to reflect back on that. So those two concepts, and the next one, as I have been working with you and your team now for many years, I'm at a new stage. I'm finally going to do the hard thing, which recently
Let's see only
I'm sorry, what was that?
what Mike. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, 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 you froze a little bit. But what I was going to say was that, one of the things that I wrestle with all the time is my emotional state of mind and my reactivity. And, I've been, with your guidance, trying to do a better job with the meditation part of what your teachings are about, and how to, benefit from meditation. And now I recently started my journey to work with your colleague, Mr. McAuliffe, Bob, to become better at um, meditation. So I'm very excited about that, because I want to try and be able to be more resourceful, especially when things aren't going well. It's easy for us to be, as you say, your higher self when things are great. But when things are not so great, how do I avoid, that rush of cortisol and adrenaline and stress into my body? And that
Yeah.
has been, such a huge thing that you have made me become aware of. And now I'm going to do the hard thing. I hope we'll report back soon, as I'm beginning to start to work with Bob, and hopefully become more intentional, purposeful, and disciplined in meditating every day. So I want to thank you for all that you have done. I know that I always try and be, demonstrate my gratitude, but your work has been so insightful to me, and I know to so many people in this business. And I hope that those that are listening are, you know, taking stock of what Steve and his value proposition is. I wanted to ask you if you have anything else you wanted to share. I try and keep these podcasts to 20 to 30 minutes, and we're about 25 minutes now, and wanted to see if there was anything else you wanted to share about your company and what you do.
Well, I want to speak first to the meditation piece, because people think of meditation like it's completely irrelevant in business, and they're wrong. Okay. What meditation does is, every day in my business, in my practice, while all our coaches in our companies and whatnot, problems come up. And how we deal with those problems is really important. And what meditation teaches us to be able to do is not fall back into the default mode network, which is what the Harvard physicists that studied the relaxation response that occurs in meditation, what they found is there's a default mode response in the brain, which is goes back into the amygdala, and you have a problem, and you called it cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine. These are stress hormones. And what happens is you might deal with the problem, but you deal with it in a way that lowers your immune response and actually leads to premature death, illness, sickness, and a lack of energy. And so what you want to be able to do is say, meditation will help into the default mode, default back to the amygdala and get into stress, but rather be able to handle that problem by using a relaxation response and shift from what I call problem focus, which is stress, to solutions focus, which is engage the relaxation response, see the problem, and shift to a creative solutions focused thinking. That's why we meditate. So it's not about power over other or selling flowers at the airport or burning incense or chanting om. It's about understanding how to be more effective in your life and your business in a way that's your profitability without detracting from your health.
It's so powerful, because when I'm in the dark side or my lower self with the cortisol and so on, I don't feel I have my access to my resources. I'm kind of like a computer where the thing is spinning, where when I relax and I'm comfortable, then I have access to all this knowledge and ideas and solutions and so on. And I could tell very quickly which mode I'm in. I say to friends and family when I'm in my lower self, oops, that was my lower self. Let me regroup here for a second. And that's all due to your teaching. Steve, I want to thank you. You are a spiritual teacher, a productivity coach who works with successful and striving entrepreneurs, individuals, high performance companies. You're an author, a co-creator. You do these symposiums twice per year that I go to in Florida in the winter and in Rochester in the summer, that have added so much value. And I've gotten to meet some amazing people, like-minded people who really are tremendous. And my gratitude goes out to you and your team. If you want to reach Steve, you can find him on the internet at Soul Purpose Institute, or the other website is
Mission Driven
Advisors. With that in mind, I want to say thank you for all that you have done for me. I hope that this recording comes out okay, because I know we buffered a little bit. But in any case, I hope that whatever is going to be sent out to the world is received in a way where they can benefit from the teachings that you have shared with us today. Thank you so much, Steve, and have a great day.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
You've been tuning into It's Personal, Not Just Business, with your host, Michael Fliegelman. Each episode features role models and lessons from other successful financial advisors and brokers. Thank you for your positive feedback, comments, questions, and for sharing this show with others.